Are you looking for Moza'S settings and don't know quite what to change to make it feel better and more realistic? Well, in today's video, I'm going to show you my perfect Moza'S settings and what's changed my experience about the Moza'S R16. And it doesn't matter whether you're on the R5, 9, 12, 16, 21, these will work for every single Moza'S. I'm going to talk quickly about what issues I've had, okay? And then we'll talk about how to fix these issues. I didn't know that Moza'S had like different frequencies on the vibration scale in the Moza'S. And basically, ever since I've owned this, after a few months time, which is now, the Moza'S is started to rattle, okay? This is really bad, and I think it's kind of damaging the wheel. I'm not quite sure what's going on. I actually replaced 2 or 3 bases because of this issue. Now it turns out I think it's more just a setting problem. So I'm going to show you what makes it happen. Maybe you guys have got the same issue. Maybe you've got a rattling Moza'S and you'll be like, oh, how do I get rid of this? Well, I'm going to show you today the perfect settings for every single Moza'S, my personal preference anyway, and show you how to fix the issue. So you now join me in the rig. I just want to talk about what I thought maybe was the issue before I decided to change some settings and have a play around with it. I did contact Moza'S. They said it was either a faulty quick release or base, but I think over time, once the paint wears off and it gets thinner and, you know, you can see more metal, it does become a little bit noisier. But no one told me that it was a setting issue. No one said that, you know, oh, it could be your settings. And it turns out all this time we've had the wrong settings. So what I thought it was is when I first got this Moza'S R16, okay, I had no noises whatsoever. It was pretty much silent, but you got to remember that the paint on the shaft was pretty much brand new. Now it's a bit scratched up, a lot less thinner, and you can start to see the bare aluminum and metal, aluminium, whatever you want to call it. And I think that is part and parcel of the problem here. Once you sort of grind away at the paint a little bit, and don't get me wrong, I don't put the wheel on wrong either. I put it on correct. I don't swing it around. I literally put it on and leave it. And I don't really change wheel because I don't often use my GS wheel. But what I thought is that these are stainless steel and the shaft is aluminium or aluminum, depends where you're from. And I thought that because this is a harder material, it was sort of degrading or misshapen. Eventually, you know, it'd start to misshape and become an issue. But what we'll do is I'll fire up Assetto Corsa and show you what it actually sounds like, okay? So the mic quality might change a little bit, but I'll show you what it sounds like. No magic here. I'm not making it do it. It's just going to do it on its own. Watch. Listen, that is what I'm talking about. That will break your Moza'S, chat. Your Moza'S R5, your Moza'S R16, your Moza'S R9 or whatever should not be making those noises. And it's not a quick release thing either, by the way. Like, obviously I'm taking it out of the ordinary here, but even if you do whack curbs and stuff, it does, like, you know, it shouldn't do this. I don't know what that is or why it's doing it. I would have liked just a new unit, to be honest, but then same thing would apply again. It's just a Moza'S thing. So these are some of the settings that I feel like are the best for the Moza'S. Okay, so if you're driving road car, I would recommend obviously 900 degrees. Game force feedback intensity. Now this depends on what wheel you've got, but you don't want to be clipping, so you don't necessarily want to be on 100%. I use it at 75%. That's 75% of the 16 newton meters peak force, I do believe. I think it's 16 newton meters peak. I don't know if it's 16 newton meters all the time. Road sensitivity, this can differ depending on what you really want. I tend to go from either 8 or 10. Again, it depends on the application, depends on what you want to feel. Like, you know, you can feel the tiny little grooves in the road. And if you want to feel that, then turn it up. Wheel speed, this is also how fast the wheel spins back. Again, I have it on 100%, sometimes when I'm at 50, depending on what kind of car I'm in. Wheel spring strength, I set that to 15%, so it kind of guides the wheel back to the center. Not a great deal, but it's kind of somewhat realistic, and it kind of, as you can see, it doesn't do too much of it. It kind of just pulls it back a tiny bit. And then wheel dampening, basically, when it's so aggressive turning back, it'll dampen the way that is, you know, it's kind of more realistic instead of being so aggressive when it turns it back. Let's go to advanced settings. Okay, same thing again, professional game force feedback intensity. I have that at 75%. I just feel like that is the best. I always turn the car down, up and down in the game. Inertia, I had that at 150%. This replicates the weight of the vehicle being thrown around, I do believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure that's what inertia means. It says there, simulates the effect of independent game output. A higher inertia makes the steering feel heavier when turning. So basically, it replicates the weight of the vehicle, I'm pretty sure. This is where it matters, okay? If you have a rattling Moza R16, like you saw earlier on, these are the 3 settings that you need to turn down, okay? So 100%, turn that down, turn that down, turn that down. These are now the dialed in settings, okay? These settings will apply whether you're on a Moza R5, a Moza R9, 12, 16, 21. They can be used in a drift scenario and racing scenario. I'll show you straight away both applications, okay? Both racing and drift style thing. So right now, look, we're in the drift session, and what I tend to do is, look, we're on, I don't know if you can see, you may just be able to see actually, we're on like 45% of like the wheel in game, and that's what I kind of have it on in the game, just because I feel like 75% on the base and then turning it down is a better thing to do, because then you can play around with it in the game. If you have the other wheel without the little dial, you can just map it to your keyboard, and then obviously every single car has a different rack and different weight, so I'd probably turn it down or up or down. But as you can see though, these are pretty good, and it's silent. There's no noise, there's no weird steering rack problems, as I would kind of call it. Not very good at drifting, by the way. I don't really drift. I don't know how to drift, to be honest, but I just want to prove a point that you can use these settings on any application, to be honest. If you want to change the rotation of the wheel from 900 to say 540 or something for like GT cars, or 480 for GT cars, you can, and it'll still feel just as good. You can increase the force feedback, and it'll feel great. You won't have any more weird noises, which is the biggest problem I've had with my Moza since I ever bought it. And I actually thought it was my Moza settings. I actually thought it was my Moza all this time. I've gone through the R9 base, the R12 base, 2 of those, and 1 R16. So I actually thought it was my Moza'S, to be honest. And it turns out, was it really my Moza? I don't know. I feel like Moza should definitely have a better out-of-the-box settings, and explain to people if you get rattling, then you probably should turn these settings down. Right, so you now join me in a road car, okay? So, nope. Hopefully we don't pull out on someone. Yeah, we did. Sorry, mate. But it makes it feel more realistic. Now, I have played on a Assetto Corsa on a gear-driven wheel. Hey, I don't know why you pulled out on me for that, mate. Like, what were you thinking, bro? Some people. Anyway, moving on. So I've tried playing on a Assetto Corsa with a gear-driven, belt-driven, and a direct drive. I've also tried it on the Camus wheel, and it has to be said that the best experience has been on the Moza'S, whether it's the Moza R5, the Moza R12, 9, whichever it's been. I've enjoyed the experience every time. I definitely think having the R16 is definitely, for me, the best, because it gives you that little bit more headroom if you do want more force feedback in other titles. But for a Assetto Corsa and for like Forza and stuff like that, I think like the R12 or maybe the R9 at the most, probably, to be honest, you don't need any more force feedback than that. 9 newton meters is kind of crazy, and we're not even using that right now. I'd probably say we're on like a solid 6, 7, and I'm pretty sure that's more than enough. You know what I mean? You don't want any more than that, because it's just not a good experience after that. These are my best settings for the Moza'S, okay? Let me know down in the comments below if you think they're any good. Try them out. I'll leave a link down in the description below. If not, just apply my settings, okay? If you have like not a Moza R16 with no CSP pedals, CRP pedals, just copy the settings over and then try them and let me know what you think. I'd appreciate it. I think I've pretty much solved my issue. Now I can move on with Moza and be happy. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure you smash that like button, because it took me ages to make this video. I'm terrible at making videos, I can't lie. There's so many takes to it. My camera's been playing up. Tried a different camera view. Hopefully this is better. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.